The kids were taken home. Each of them received some variation of the "you're grounded" speech from their parents before they made it to their respective bathrooms to shower off the chunky brown slush of vomit and blood. William Randolph Kane decided there was no salvaging his son's clothes. After Charles Foster Kane stripped in their laundry room, he folded the clothes and took them to the backyard fire pit. His wife, Lydia Adams Kane, had their son hold a frozen bag of peas against his face before directing him to the bathroom. Once inside, she went to the window to watch her husband carry out his duties. William Randolph Kane had placed the ruined suit in a neat stack in the center of the fire pit. He hosed them off with lighter fluid before putting a match to them. He sobbed for the entire duration of the suit's burning, like a soldier burning a flag that was no longer fit to fly. Lydia Adams Kane began to sob in solidarity with her husband, but she would not go outside to join him in this mourning ritual. They both understood that this sorrow was not meant to be shared as a unit. The Sikorsky family handled things differently. Sikorsky's father had a standard procedure he would follow after anything that concerned his son. He went upstairs to check the gun cabinet. He unlocked it, peered inside to make sure everything was accounted for. Guns, knives, and all manner of blunt objects the boy could wield. Sikorsky's father then closed and locked it, then unlocked it, then locked it again. He repeated that a few times, all while Sikorsky washed blood off himself in the upstairs bathroom. Following that, he went downstairs and bagged up the boy's bloody clothes to keep them from dripping all over the living room carpet. It was his day to do the family's laundry, and he was already not looking forward to the task. He now had to figure out how to get blood and throw up out of clothes, and he wasn't sure that his AEG lava mat was up to the task. But he was going to persist. Harris received perhaps the most rational punishment of the group. Her mother banished her and Brick to her bedroom. Donna Harris relaxed on the couch. She didn't like the sense of drama like her peers. She simply bagged up her daughter's clothes and sat them on the coffee table, internally debating whether to throw them away or wash them. Wise Peter's parents decided to throw them out, but they did it with the added caveat of making Wise Peter walk to the dumpster with the trash bag, so maybe he'd think twice about getting into a brawl with his friends in a room soaked in blood. This is a very atypical lesson, but if you look, you'll find that a lot of parents find themselves having to teach it to their children. The last half of that sentence is, of course, a horrible lie. Wise Peter trudged up and across the scorching blacktop with the plastic bag of ruined clothes slung over his shoulder. The afternoon sun was high in the sky, casting rays down upon him like the wrath of God. Wise Peter felt it was true, even in the little pit of his soul. The sun god was punishing the boy for his minor and major transgressions. His hair, wet from the shower, began to rapidly dry. The bag seemed to smell worse with every step. He could feel his parents' disappointed gaze upon him before he even turned to witness the real thing. He felt trapped by their downcast expressions, a pair of faces so much like his own, dripping with sweat and unfiltered dissatisfaction. When Wise Peter circled back around and reached the porch, he didn't have to be told to go upstairs. He simply did. He was a good kid like that. Bad grade on a report card, upstairs. Call from the principal, upstairs. He knew the score as well as they did. When he ascended the stairs, he closed the door behind him. He made for the bed and collapsed face first onto it. This could be good, he thought to himself. Take a few weeks off and forget about the nightmares you saw in that room. Be at peace. Be well. He could relax with an encyclopedia or the next issue of New Mutants that he had put off reading. His imagined paradise was short-lived, killed on arrival by the squawking of a walkie-talkie. Wise Peter turned over and faced the horrid machine on his bedside table as it made that noise, that hollow electric screech sound. He could not answer it. He could take the batteries out and bury the body of the toy in the back of his closet, leave it there to be discovered years later when he's cleaning out his room in preparation for the big move upstate for college. Indiana State. He could bury the body. He worked that phrase over in his mind, but it didn't fit right. Ultimately, he chose not to do any of that. He picked up the walkie-talkie. "This is Peter. Over," he said, taking his finger off the talk button. Someone made a disgruntled noise on their end. "Harris. Over." "Me. Over," said Charles Foster Kane. "This the devil himself speaking to you loud and clear," said Sikorsky with a ghoulish little weasel laugh. "Over." "You're a scab." "Over," replied Harris. The urge to dash the walkie-talkie against the concrete beneath his window suddenly didn't seem like such a terrible option. At least it would free him from this awful conversation. "Anyways," shouted Charles Foster Kane, "I think we all know what's going on, don't we?" Over. "No, I don't think that we do," said Wise Peter, believing himself to be speaking for the rest of the group. Over. Charles Foster Kane spoke next, putting on his best impression of Columbo. "I'm not going to let them put an end to this investigation." Over. Wise Peter wished his hands were big enough to wring Charles Foster Kane's fat neck. "That's insane. They could be listening to us right now. Our houses could be full to the teeth with bugs." Over. "That's lovely theorizing, Pete, but I don't care," said Charles Foster Kane. "I refuse to have my entire summer be made boring by some dope with flying saucer eyes telling me no." Over. "We're dealing with something bigger than us," said Sikorsky. His laughter was gone, and he sounded serious. Did Weisbeard detect fear in his voice? "You didn't really get a good look into his eyes, did you? Like, really look." Over. "Are you scared?" giggled Harris. "Rick says you're being scared." Over. "Fuck you," said Sikorsky. Over. "What are you talking about?" asked Wise Peter. "You seem normal to me." Over. Someone did something, clicked their walkie-talkie the wrong way, and made a loud, distorted noise that echoed over both ends. Then Sikorsky spoke. "There's something weird about Agent Mabuse. He was able to get me to say things without me wanting to, but not with any kind of force. It was almost like a dream." Over. "Weird." Over, chimed in Harris. Weird didn't even begin to describe it. In Wise Peter's mind, he couldn't recall anything ever shaking Sikorsky. Men in black turn up in the middle of the day, 2 people died. Wise Peter's stomach tightened at the thought of the last one. "It sounds like you were hypnotized," said Wise Peter. Over. "Doesn't that only happen to stupid people?" asked Harris, her voice choked a bit with laughter. "Rick says you're a fucking moron, sicko." Over. "Whatever," said Charles Foster Kane. "I'm going to keep at this investigation, but I don't want to go at it alone. I need you guys." Over. "That fat son of a bitch," thought Wise Peter. He really would pull something like that to tug at their heartstrings and sound dead serious about it. After a moment of thought, if they did solve these murders, it would give him one less thing to worry about and be a big way to show off how smart he was. Wise Peter couldn't deny that finding the killer before the MIBs from the FBI it would create such an egotistical little bit of glee to him. He adored the idea, but he couldn't chase the lingering danger in the back of his mind. There was also Sikorsky. If he was scared about something, then he probably shouldn't share it. "You're a real manipulative prick, you know that?" Over, said Wise Peter into the toy. "I know," said Charles Foster Kane. He could almost hear the boys, pleased with himself, smile. "We'll meet in the woods to discuss what to do next." Over.